Yo, what's going on? It is 1 p.m. here in Crystal Lake, Illinois. It means it's time for another live stream. Today is Monday, July 8th, 2024. Guys, we're back. I know we didn't have a Thursday live stream last week. That's because it was the 4th of July. It was a holiday. I was in Iowa with family and enjoying a bunch of fireworks and a bunch of summer running. Hopefully you guys were doing some of that as well. Although I guess if you're in England, you probably were not doing that, or in Europe or anywhere else that's not the United States, you were probably not doing that. But hopefully you had like a day off or something, because it's summertime. It's a good time to have days off. So we're back though. It's Monday. But by the way, we are not going to have a Thursday live stream this week either because I'm going to be in San Francisco. We'll talk a lot more about that in a second. But first, let's say hi to everyone listening on the audio only version on the podcast. I'm sorry I haven't had a lot of content for you guys, but hopefully you've been taking the time to listen into some other podcasts, catching up on Olympics coverage and USATF coverage after the trials and all of the interviews and podcasts that have been coming out. There's been a lot of good content there, so hopefully you've still had plenty to listen to, but there will be more coming up soon. But the next month, basically now until the Olympics, live streams are going to be a bit sporadic, even more sporadic, or less radic. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm going to be traveling a lot. Basically once a week, sometimes twice a week, from now until I get to Paris. So there's going to be a lot. It's all with the Move Your Mind tour with ASICS. We're going to San Francisco, Austin, New York, Minneapolis, Paris, and one other city. They haven't told me which other city yet. But that won't be till August, I think, if we go somewhere in August. Like once the Olympics start, So we'll see. We'll see where that ends up being. But as we get closer, I'll have more details for all you guys. So hopefully I'll be able to see you guys soon. And we can go for a run together sometime this summer. And for everyone else watching this later but not live, welcome to you guys as well. Someone pointed out to me that I have not been adding these live streams as podcasts. So if you have like YouTube music, you aren't able to listen to this, my apologies. I'll do better at making that part of the process, making sure that gets added. So, because I don't want you guys to miss out on the number one place for running shoe unboxings and also spreadsheets. We're learning together. Last week, we did a data sort. It was scary, but you guys held my hands, told me it would be okay, and it was. So thank you guys for that. All right. Let's see. Ryan says he's going to be there for the run in San Francisco. That's going to be this Thursday at a Runner's Mind, right? Is that where it is? Thursday. So that's where we're going to be at. John K says Nashville, please. There is something at Nashville. I don't think I'm not on the lineup for Nashville. I think Nashville though. Is there an echo in here? Do you guys hear an echo? Anyway, Nashville, if I saw the ad correctly, I think there is a live taping of Feel for the Soul available in Nashville. So you guys get you don't get me, but you get something even better. Megan and a live taping, I think. Is that Nashville? I thought it was Tennessee. I don't know where else it would be in Tennessee. I don't think it was Memphis. So there you go. Yeah. All right. Matthias says, is Kobuzi finally getting paid for the live stream? I got an ad. Yeah. So like if I've turned on ads for a long time, I said I wasn't going to, but then at some point I changed my mind. And so I've turned on ads for it. I usually don't remember to do it until after I do the live stream, but today I turned on monetization before I filmed it. So I don't know if you guys got an ad before you came here or what. Hopefully, I don't know. Let me know if you guys did. It was today. We do have some unboxings to do here today, but we will get to that in a minute. So it looks like, Frank says he got an ad at the beginning of the live stream, and that's weird. Okay, yeah, so I turned on monetization before I did the live stream. Was it super annoying, guys? Sorry about that if it was super annoying. Let me know if it was super, super annoying. All right. It's been a while, so let me know if you've been doing any racing. I see some PRs in here already. John K says, I set a new track mile in the PR of 5:38. Ooh, that's fast. Good job, John. And And Luis says, yo, what's going on? Had a 10K race yesterday and did 42:48. Everything feels great. Half marathon is in 20 days here in Tijuana. Nice work, Luis. I don't know if that's a PR or not, but I'll give you the bell. And Adam, just back from Paris where I ran a 350, 1500 and finished second. Did you really, Adam? Is that what Jessica Hall ran? I think that was Jessica Hall's time, was it? And she didn't win because someone set a world record in the 1500, right? I was thinking, oh man, Adam traveled to do Toronto 1500 for a second there. I don't think that was you though. Andrew Scott says, I'm getting back into the swing of things for Monumental this fall. I'm signed up for the full, but destroying the half is very tempting. Anywho, training has kicked off. All right, there you go, Andrew. I think a lot of people I've been seeing a lot of posts on social media about like Chicago is so many weeks away, New York is so many weeks away, Berlin, all that stuff. So people are getting ready for marathon training. I'm not ready to think about marathon training yet. I have a 5K this weekend. My local 5K up in McHenry. I think they changed the name of it. I think it's Lakefront 5K this year. It was like the McHenry or Fox Valley or it was something different 5K last year. But I don't know if I'm going to run for a PR. I'm not sure if I'm in PR shape. I might start out at PR pace and then slowly die or quickly die after that. We'll see. My daughter's going to run it as well. She's looking to PR, but last year she ran a 30 minutes and 1 second, and she can definitely run a lot faster than that. So it'll be interesting to see where she ends up on that one. All right. Eric Paramount says, maiden voyage in the new Nova Blast 4 TR today. Fantastic shoe for commuting and light trails. Stable, comfy, you name it. Nice. Nice. I'm glad you're liking that one. I haven't seen that one yet. Not in person. Interesting. All right. Inna says that the ad he had was very short. Good to see Inna's. And Frank said it just missed the first 5 seconds of the live stream because of the ad. Oh, okay. And Calvin says, I guess an ad is better than a midstream ad read. Yeah, so like I've thought about like I don't have anyone, no one's asked to sponsor the live stream. But I've always thought that if I could get someone to do it, I think it would probably be like a pre-recorded ad in the middle and I would just take like a break or something. I don't know. I'm not sure. But no one's offered to sponsor the live stream, so we don't have to worry about that. All right, Tails Millet says, I'm running the Mexico City half this Sunday. I've been here 2 days in altitude as well. Yeah, altitude is really high in Mexico City, isn't it? It's like 6,000, 7,000 feet. I feel like people don't talk about that enough, how crazy high altitude Mexico City is. Someone was asking me in the comments of a YouTube video of my CIM video. I don't know when the comment came in, but they're like, what do you think is better, CIM or Tucson Marathon? And I was like, I don't know much about the Tucson Marathon, but isn't Tucson at altitude? I feel like that makes a big difference. If you're not from altitude, I would say don't go to try to run a PR at altitude, even if it's downhill, you know? Oh, Adam says, seriously, though, that was Jess Hall's time. Yeah. See, I was right. I saw that. Adam says, I haven't run in 9 days since I strained my hamstring. 725 meters into an 800. Oh, bummer. Sorry to hear that. 9 days, that's a long time. But I didn't watch the Paris Diamond League. But I definitely think we should talk about it. I saw some results. Saw that Faith Kipyegon had set another world record. Amazing. And then Jess Hall ran the 5th fastest time in the 1,500 meters ever. That makes her the fastest. Does that make her the fastest Australian? I don't know, but it's impressive. Very impressive. Yeah. And I was just thinking about Paris Diamond League because I just started watching the Sprint series on Netflix, and they start out at the Paris Diamond League, which I feel like is really, well, it makes a lot of sense and good timing because then it's like people already started thinking about Paris for the Olympics, and they're in Paris. They're talking about Paris. And also Paris Diamond League was also this weekend. So I feel like there's a lot of Paris, 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 you know? Okay. I like this idea. Andrew Scott says there needs to be an official 200-meter dash in the Kavuzi Run Club to see who can beat Snoop's time. I love this idea, but I feel like, it's like at that point, I think you need actual timing, I mean, I guess I'm not running fast enough that like hand timing is that big of a deal. But we've talked about it before, right? 34.44 seconds into 200 meters is pretty fast. That's like 4:45 minutes per mile or 4:42 minutes per mile pace. And I know you're only doing it for 200. And my 200 meter reps are at like 37 seconds. So I don't know. Maybe okay. Here's what I'm gonna do. So I was just on Threads earlier, and I was thinking. Well, I went on Threads because I was just looking at YouTube Studio, checking in on comments and stuff like that. And I noticed that I just hit 190,000 subscribers. And I was like, oh, wow. I posted on Threads. Imagine if we did a 200,000 subscriber celebration run in Paris at the Olympics. Because it just feels extra. And it feels like that's the kind of thing that a YouTuber would do, But, but here's the thing. Between now and August 5th is when I'm going over there. That's like a month, basically. Less than a month, I'm not going to gain 10,000 subscribers. That just doesn't happen that fast. So it's not likely, but wouldn't that be something? But here's the other thing we can do. There is a track near the Eiffel Tower. I don't know where it is. I've never seen it before. I've been to Paris once in like 2004, 2005, something like that. 2004, maybe 2003. So it's been like 20 years since I've been to Paris. I don't remember there being a track by the Eiffel Tower, but I keep seeing shots of athletes on this track. I think what I'm going to do is when I get there, August 5th, I'll set up a segment, 200 meters on that track. Kafuzi Run Club beat Snoop's time on the track. Should we do? I think that's what we got to do. I think what I got to do. I think Believe in the Run is going to be there too, the same time as me. I think Thomas and Megan are going. Thomas was texting me the other day. So I got to get them on there. We got to figure out a leaderboard. Of the 200 meters at the track by the Eiffel Tower Snoop Challenge. Kafuzi Run Club / Believe in the Run Snoop Challenge. Yeah. Calvin says, does Strava do 200 meter segments? I don't know. I bet you could. I mean, if there's segments inside an airport, I feel like you could do a 200 meter segment. Yeah. Alan Sutherland says, I got you on that 34:44. He's a sub 30. Ooh, you're fast. I don't know that I could do an all out 200 at 34. I'm not sure. Calvin thinks he can hit a 28 in the 200. Lifetime best was 23.5 back in high school. That's fast. That's so fast. Man. Cosmo Michael says, everyone not in Paris should run 200 meters virtually that day. I feel like that's a good 200,000. That's a much better idea than trying to do a 200K run. Let's just do a 200 meters. I don't know why I didn't think of this for 100K. Well, let's do that. We'll do a 200 meter challenge I'll pick a day. I'll let you guys know. We're going to do that. So the first day I'll get there, I'll go find the track. I'll set the segment up. Or can you set up a segment remotely? I'm not sure. We got to figure out the segment, and then I'll post it for all of you guys, and you can share your times. I love this idea. Oh, man. Right, Fox Mulder says, I'm training for my first marathon. I'll be running the Budapest Marathon in October and had to stop training for 2 weeks due to sickness. Flu hit me hard. What's your experience and advice, Co? I think that your race is in October. You got plenty of time. Don't worry about it. Just continue along. If you have a coach, that would be optimal because then you can ask the coach how to kind of modify this time now to kind of catch up where you are. But I think that you still have plenty of time to train. I wouldn't worry about it this far out. All right. Joe Ho says, the track is near Champ de Mars, Centre Mille Antoine. All right. I'm going to have to try and remember that. Calvin says 200,000 subs, 200-meter race, and then 200 minutes in the ER. Yeah. Yeah. And then afterwards, Andrew Scott says celebrate with some gin and juice. I suppose those are things that are attainable. There's some jus d'orange. Get some orange juice in there with gin. Is there a French gin? What's the French gin? Is Bombay a French gin? I don't know. Either way. And Vanessa Martinez says, wait, do we need to be high to recreate Snoop's run? Do you think he was? If he was, that's even more impressive. I'm not. I can't imagine trying to run fast under the influence like that. JC said that Snoop had pacers. He did have Otto Bolden ahead of him that he could chase, though. Yeah. And Mark said, where's that notebook that you got to write down reminders? Well, I just took a screenshot of the thing, but that notebook is here. All right, here's the notebook. No, this is a different notebook. Here's the notebook. $200-meter segment. Paris at the track. Now here's the question I have. Maybe I gotta ask, I bet you Ben Parks would know the answer to this. Ben Felton might know, Forty might know. I'll have to ask some of my European friends. Tracks like that, you just can walk up and get on there, or is it a pay to get in? Because I feel like at Budapest, there was a track, not the stadium in Budapest, but there was another part in an island in the river. There was like pools and stuff there and basketball courts, and there was a track, but you had to pay to use it, which makes sense to me, and I'd be happy to pay it. But like, how does that work? How do tracks work in Europe? I feel like there's use fees, right? Do you have to be a member of a club or something? That's the main thing I want to know. Adam does point out, though, that Snoop did not take a drug test after his 200-meter run. So those are unverified results. All right. Reagan says, hey, Kofuzi, training for my first marathon in Richmond, Virginia this year. I was wondering what you would recommend for half marathon, full marathon race day nowadays. I started on Cloud Surfers to Rebel version 3 and Puma DV8 Nitro 2s. I mean, I wouldn't really recommend anything from On, given the shoes that you listed there. Yeah, I would say if you like the Rebel 3 a lot, the SC Elite version 4 could be an interesting choice for you. If you like the DV8 Nitro 2s, then I would probably have you take a look at the Fast R2. I don't know why. I mean, the shoe is heavier than some of its competition, but it's a really fun shoe, and I think you might like it. But if you're a Rebel 3 fan, maybe not. Maybe the DV8. I haven't run in the DV8 Nitro 3 yet. I have it. It's in this box over here, but I haven't run in it yet. So that might be the one for you to try out. But those would be someone to take a look at. Terry says there's going to be use fees and club membership for any half decent track. The Paris track is public, so it might just be walk up and pay. Oh, good to know, Terry. Okay. I'll write that. I'm going to have to write that down as a note. Check access. I don't think I'll have to write that down to remind myself that. But then people can either do the segment and then also we'll have to have a way of anyone that does a 200-meter segment will be fine. And Eric the Red does point out that even tracks here in these states are hit and miss in public use. Yeah, I know. What I would not mind is if it was like pay $5 for the day. You know, like I would do that in a heartbeat. But instead it's like, is this public high school's track open to the public? It feels like it kind of should be. It's a public high school. You know, school's not in session. But a lot of times they're either locked up or the one gate that's open is very much hidden and they don't really want you there. Or they might tell you that you're not allowed to be on there, even if you are allowed to be on there, you know? So it's like, I wish there were, I don't know of a place where you could pay to get on an ice track. I can't say that I know any place like that. Like I couldn't go over to like Northwestern's campus and just hop on their track, even if I paid for it, you know? I don't think they would let me do that. I don't even know where their track is, to be honest. But, and like there's a small college near me, Harper College, that I go to run at. That's free, you know? I just walk right on there. There's no fence even around it. Lorenzo Celiento says, back in Italy, you have to pay a few dollars fee. We'll assume French has similar policies. Yeah, so I feel like I'm going to have to put a couple of euros in my running shorts. Some change. I'll be jingling around with change. Did you know that if you run around jingling change in your running shorts for long enough, Robbie Redinger will suddenly find you? All right. AJ says, Cloud Eclipse are now on sale for $140. They are? No. Not on the website. Because I was just looking at it today. I don't think it's on the... It might be at a retailer. But he says it's now on sale for $140. Hesitating to buy another pair because they squeak so much. I think at $140, who cares about the squeak? That's a great price for that shoe. Calvin wants to know if there's any luck in getting the Endorphin Elite 2. As far as I know, no one's sending it to me. And I did not buy any. I didn't know that they were on sale until like it happened, you know? And I didn't realize it was such a small drop. So I do not have any. I was able to speak with Laura Thweet about them for a minute the other day, before we were filming a podcast. And she says she really likes them a lot. She raced the trials in them. Which I didn't realize. I thought she just ran in the white ones. I guess I didn't look at her shoes closely enough. But she's been racing in them for a while, and she prefers them over version 1. I'm excited for them. I really want to try them. I liked version 1 quite a bit. All right, and it says for the track near him, you can pay to use it when there are no competitions going on, just like hiring a tennis court or a badminton court. See, that just makes sense. It's sensible. And Alf says, this may be a little bit, maybe some British bias here, but Alf says, France has some funky rules about running, swimming pool attire, eating stuff, etc. Which I'm not going to say that's wrong either. But interesting. Funky rules about running. You know what was a funky rule? Jeremy Miller, when we were in Jamaica, Jeremy Miller went running on his own one day, which was like a little bit, well, I say on his own, because for that trip, they all wanted us to stay together for security purposes. Like anytime we left the hotel, like we had escorts, and while driving anywhere, we had police escorts, which was crazy. But So Jeremy Miller went for a run, and he said he found like a track that had no gates. He just got right on there and ran on it, and he could see people were kind of like watching what he was doing, and he was fine. But it's Jamaica. It was hot, even though it was like February. It was still hot, really, really hot. I couldn't handle the heat. But he said he was running there, and the minute he took his shirt off to run with his shirt off, then they kicked him off the track. They're like, "You can't be here." But until he took his shirt off, he was fine. So I guess that was just the rule. No topless for men, I guess. And I was like, I feel like in Jamaica, I feel like that's a weird rule to have. 1HP says, my local high school track is still close to me. I have to run around the block a couple times before I go. It's locked up, but I jump the fence. See, I don't want to jump a fence. That's the thing I don't want to do. I don't feel comfortable doing that. Because there is a track very close to me. It's at the high school that my daughters will eventually go to. And I was running by it the other day, and it happened to be, the gate was open. So I went down there and I ran a mile on the track. But I think the reason why it was open then when it's been locked other times, it might have been because I went later in the day. Other times I've gone at like 6 a.m. Maybe there just isn't someone to unlock it from the groundskeeping crew or the maintenance staff or whatever. But so this day I went, it was like 10 or something like that. No, it would have been before 9, I think. Anyway, it was later in the morning. So I thought maybe that was it. But I think really the only reason the gates were open is because they were mowing the lawns that day. And there was lawn mowing. But no one was like, hey, you can't be here while they were mowing the lawn. But I don't know. Maybe it's a different crew. Maybe they don't care who's on the track. But it was annoying. It's annoying enough that I'm like, I'm not going to like get ready to do a track workout, drive over there, check out to see if I can get on there. And then if it's not, then I have to go drive somewhere else. It's just so annoying. Tales of Melissa says, I pay $30 a month as an alumnus at my university and can use the campus rec facilities, includes track and indoor track. That's amazing. That is really cool. I live far from where I went to college, but about 350 miles maybe. But if I was close by, I would definitely do that. Oh, having an indoor track would just be so nice. Yeah, Eric says, I'd 100% pay a fee to use a track if that was an option. I totally would too. All right, Vanessa says, new business plan, buy land, build a track, and rent it to non-elite runners. I think that'd be pretty cool. The problem is like proximity. You have to be close to a lot of people. The track that's available in Chicago along the lakefront, that gets used all the time. And so like people will use a track if it's available to them. I keep wishing that like my local YMCA, they have space. It might be tough, but they could fit a 400-meter track. They could fit a 200-meter track on there, make it rubberized. I feel like a lot of people would use that. Now I can't really use it. I've tried using a 200-meter track. My daughter's school has a 200-meter rubber track on there, and my ankles were never the same after doing a couple of workouts on that. The turn is just so tight. Because it's not banked, it's not banked, but 200 meters, that's hard. But I feel like for like a YMCA, just to get people outside a little bit as an option, it'd be nice. Adam says that they're building a 400-meter indoor track in Vegas. Is that so how does that work for records purposes? Because is it World Athletics that's changing the rules? They're not doing indoor versus outdoor anymore. They're doing short track versus track. I'm not sure exactly what the word for regular size 400-meter tracks is going to be. But would it be record eligible at 400 meters if it's indoor? But I don't know. But if it's a 400-meter indoor track, that tells me that and depending on like what the rest of the facilities are like, Imagine if USA's were there. Imagine if the trials were there. You know, indoor facility, 400 meters. You know, it's climate controlled. You could have it any time of year, or at the same time of year that like trials just was. It's easy to fly to Las Vegas. It's easy to stay in Las Vegas. That would be I'm all for it. I'm all for it. All right. Cosmopino Michael says box, box, box. All right, that's a good idea. Let's get to the box. All right, first couple of things. I've been ordering some stuff. I already unboxed it a little bit, but I did get another battery for my Insta360 X4. I tried to use mostly the Insta360 when I ran the Tiger Claw 50K, and it did not last long enough. And so I only had one battery. So now I bought a second one. So for longer adventures, I won't have to worry about the battery life so much. And then also, I just bought another flip belt water bottle. Now, I like flip belts. Guys, I tried to buy a naked belt the other day, but they didn't have any like in my size. You know, it's very specific, the sizes. But so they didn't have one. But so instead I bought another flip belt water bottle, and this is different than the one that I had before. I mean, the general shape is the same. It slides into the flip belt. It holds less than 12 ounces. This has about 10 ounces and change, but it's got a different spout on the top. I guess one of those like leak control spouts. So that's kind of nice. I didn't have a problem with leaking before, but it's cool to see that they've added that to it. And now there's like a different like flip belt FB logo, which I think is not really great. It looks kind of like an old rejected Facebook logo. But yeah, but I'll definitely get a lot of use of this. I've been using the handheld for a lot of stuff lately. The Hydro Pack one that has the thumb hole in the strap. That's actually been working remarkably well for me. I like that one a lot. But when you're done with it, you're still holding it, which I don't love, which is ironic because I'm always holding a camera. But maybe that's because I'm always holding a camera. I want to be able to put the bottle away, and this lets me put the bottle away. But then you do have to wear the flip belt, which adds some heat in the summer. So that's just some other stuff that I've been getting. And now I meant to look at this the other day, but I forgot to bring it downstairs before live stream. So here is the updated version. I don't know if they're calling it anything different than what the original Dream Chaser was, but this is a Dream Chaser. Oh, they sent it to me in a bigger size too, which I'll try 9.5. But I don't recall the first one being snug or anything. Maybe they didn't have any size 9s left, but it is a new color of the Dream Chaser from Rabbit. So the original one I had is blue and yellow. It's like a Boston Marathon kind of colorway. It was released in Boston. This one has a little bit of a tweak. Not only is it a different color, black and white, very clean. Like this stuff here. Can you see this? This upper, it looks so pillowy. This part here is TPU, but then on here it's like it kind of feels like it's like the shoe version of those couches with buttons in it. You know what I mean? That's kind of what it feels like here. It feels quite bespoke. And the main difference, I'm squeezing the Charmin here, but the main difference is that they covered the carbon tracks, which are like the rails that they have here. You can still kind of see it through this little hole in here, but they covered up the carbon tracks for this version of the Dream Chaser. I think people were, I don't know if people were breaking it or people were just worried that they were going to break it. It did make noise, and mine, has some visual damage on it. It's all the way over there. I'm not going to go get it. But it still has carbon tracks, but now there's just a piece of rubber that covers it up. which is interesting. Very interesting that they would change that right away. Here we go. I think it's otherwise the same shoe. Mark Peterson says, the word bespoke bothers me. I don't know why. It just does. It feels, you know, pretentious. That's why. Chris Reed, tufted. It feels like like a tufted upper. I like that. I know it's not literally tufted. There's no buttons on it, but it just feels very much like that. Nice to the touch. Colin says, I love my rabbit clothes and I really want to like the shoes. I really like the Boston colorway. Yeah, I don't know if they're not going to sell that one anymore or what. But this white one is, the white and black is very stark. And I also like my rabbit clothes as well. And Andrew Scott says the upper is reminiscent of the Infinity Run 4. Do you know why? Was the Infinity Run always Infinity RN? Or did that change at some point? Right? What happened there? And Johnny Dodger says, this colorway is so much better looking than the Boston one. I prefer this to the Boston one, I will say, because the Boston was a lot of blue, and you guys know I don't love blue shoes. I'm trying to get over it, but, yeah. Calvin says, I would have loved for the rabbit logo to be a different color for just a bit of pop. Yeah, I think that, like, the white and black is very stark, I feel like it would have been maybe like a white and dark gray. Even like these laces, they're black and white laces, but they aren't as like harsh as a black on this super like eggshell white, maybe a slightly less bright gleaming white and black or white and gray, but it just feels very harsh. I'm assuming once this wears in, it'll look a little bit better and less kind of like drastic, Calvin says, for the Infinity Run, it changed. And Nike also added the RN moniker to other shoes like the Free series. I feel like the Free, or is it Free? I thought it was Free Run always though, wasn't it? But they added RN to it. Interesting. All right, well, let's get this thing weighed. I remember the first one was heavy. Let me get my spreadsheet. I was ready for spreadsheet today, guys. I had spreadsheet ready. So the rabbit, was the rabbit one on here? I thought we did. Yeah, the Dream Chaser came in at 10.5, the first one. But that was a size 9. This is a size 9.5. I think it's the same insole as well. This feels different. Softer. Really nice, almost like a velour that's in here. Anyway, I don't know if this shoe is intended to be run in barefoot. But this shoe is definitely heavier than the first one, but it is a 9.5. So let's get to typing. Let's get to typing. Here we got Rabbit, Dream Chaser. I don't know what are we gonna call this one. I think we should call the other one Boston Edition, and we'll just call this the Dream Chaser. We'll call the other one Boston. To distinguish it because it has the exposed carbon tracks. And I don't know if the carbon tracks, if that word is spelled with a X, like TRAX. I feel like it is. I don't remember what they said, but it's a 9.5 and it's a road. All right, and the weight is, it's a big boy. There's a lot here. Whew. Coming in at 11.1 ounces and 316 grams, guys. That's a heavy shoe. It's a lot. It's a lot. Let's see, where do we move it? Okay, so we got to cut the row. Joe Carter says, this shoe reminds me of the rehab flips in St. Louis where I'm not only buying a new house, but I have to change my whole aesthetic. All right. And Calvin says this is the Google Sheets colorway, mostly white with black accents. What if they had made the rabbit in like that light blue color for the highlight? All right. So let's get this inserted in the right spot. 11.1. It is the same weight as the Hoka Skyward X. So just to put it in perspective, heavy, but not crazy. And it is heavier as a 9.5 shoe. Yeah. I mean, I guess there's extra weight because there's extra pieces of rubber down here, right? To cover the carbon tracks. And it is slightly bigger. Half size bigger. So this material feels nice. I like it. It smells like plastic. It smells like a car, you know, like the upholstery in a car. I guess I've like a roof liner maybe. I think it's like a roof liner to a car. That's what I think it smells like. Ooh, inside here, oh, this inside part smells terrible. Very strong plastic smell. Almost like whiteout. That's gas in there. Eric says, does it not smell like a dream? It does not smell like a dream inside the shoe. It's very plasticky. And Sarah Neogard says, I have the water bottle. It's great. I've had it for a year now. Okay, awesome. I'm looking forward to it. I used to have the earlier version of this, which just was like a kind of like a bike water bottle top. You just opened it with your teeth and then like smashed it shut kind of thing. I don't know where that went. I lost it. So I had to buy a replacement. And I'm glad that they still make them. It does feel bigger, like thicker than the last one was. But maybe that means it's just stronger. I don't know. And Calvin says, do you think it's plastic or glue? It's usually the gluey smell from the epoxy. It could. I just smells like plastic. Because it smells like carpeting. You know? Or like, yeah, upholstery. Don't smell like glue. There's a lot of glue on the outsole, you know? I think that's how they got this on the rubber tracks. Do you think it was just someone's job to just go through and glue these on all the existing shoes? Do you think that's what they did? I don't know. Jared Crano says, last week I met a dog named Bondi, and I've previously met a Clifton, a retriever. Anyone else met dogs with shoe names? Oh, I don't think so. I'm trying to think if I've met a dog with a shoe name. I like that though. And Calvin says, aren't those shoe names based on places or other things like Bondi Beach? Bondi is a beach. Is Clifton a place? I don't know if Clifton is a place. JC thinks there's a lot of rebels. Is Rebel a dog name? I don't know. I've never met a rebel before. Yeah, over this weekend, though, I got to play with a lot of dogs, which was great. My brother-in-law also came to Grandma's house, and they have a dog. They have a retriever. And the retriever's a puppy. I think like 2 years old now, so lots of energy. And then I met a husky. My niece's boyfriend brought her dog over. Brought his dog over. His dog is a husky, and my niece has a dog that, I don't know, it's a mutt, but it's a little bit bigger than a husky. Very, very furry. As a 1-year-old dog. And then I think the husky was like a 2-year-old dog. So just a lot of young dogs. They're all big. It was a lot of fun. Played fetch with a lot of dogs. It was good. And then we had a camp, like a bonfire, and we were making s'mores, and all the dogs were trying to get the s'mores, and I was trying to block them from the s'mores. That was also fun. A lot of giggles. And it says Rebel was the dog and Champion the Wonder Horse. I'm not familiar with what that is. Champion the Wonder Horse. Oh. Yeah, 11 Bravo says, what about Bandit? Bandit is a good dog name. That is a dog name. That's the name of, isn't Bandit Bluey's dad in the show, Bluey? There's Bandit, Bluey, Bingo. What's the mom's? I always forget the mom's name. What's the mom's name in Bluey? Anybody? I'm trying to think. I always forget it. It's something very different. Chili. Yeah, there we go. That's it. Chili is a good dog. I feel like naming dogs after food is fun. I've always wanted to have an orange dog named Soda. Chili for a dog is a good one, I feel like. I came really close to naming Buddy Broccoli Rob. His name would be Rob for short. I didn't have the gusto to go for that, you know. Frank said the Bandit Healer could be the shoe that Bandit comes out with. A heel striker shoe. Or a recovery shoe. A little play on words there, you know. 1HP says, my neighbor's tiger cat is named Waffles. I feel like cat names are just the most ridiculous. It'll be like Mr. Buttercup, you know. It's always extremely elaborate. I like cat names. And Dan Dalton says, yo, it's been forever since I had time to make a live stream. I got into London. Anyone else? Congratulations, Dan. I feel like nobody got into London this year. It seems like everyone came up empty. I don't know. You're one of the lucky ones, Dan. Good job. All right, Calvin has a question. Do you feel with the Super Blast 2 being good still that the Magic Speed Forward is sort of redundant? Why would someone want that over a Super Blast or a cheaper Nova Blast or another brand's option? I think it's not redundant. I think it's probably an either or. I don't think a Super Blast person is going to. Super Blast person could have a Magic Speed 4 as well. But I feel like it's the tough part about that genre now that like. So a couple of things. One thing is I think the tempo shoe genre or like the workout shoe genre is endangered, right? Because I feel like for me, if I have a workout that I would want to get a shoe like the Magic Speed 4 or the Endorphin Speed or the DV8 Nitro, I'm probably just going to do it in my carbon plated racer, right? And maybe that's just me because I'm lucky that and I have a lot of carbon plated racing shoes. I don't care about using the miles up on them, but I'd rather do it that way. And so I feel like a lot of people also feel that way. I spend $250 on the shoe. I want to use it. I don't want to just use it on my big race. You know, they want to run in them. And they're not as like fragile as they used to be, which I feel like is the wrong direction. But the fact of the matter is you can run in them longer these days, especially if you like the Puma Fast R2, where they're saying you can get hundreds of miles out of it. You know, why would you even have the genre of shoe? Why does it even exist anymore? You know, at the same time, the DV8 Nitro 2, I haven't tested the DV8 Nitro 3, but the Endorphin Speed 4, Magic Speed 4, like the genre is better than it's ever been. It's amazing. But I think of it as like, I want it for shorter, faster workouts, right? I don't do track workouts. So basically my fastest workouts are going to be in that kind of shoe for shorter reps. You know, long runs, I might take the super shoes out. Now, what I would use the Super Blast for is a different kind of workout than the Magic Speed 4. That I would use for like a long run, a progression run, a long run with marathon miles in it. but I'm not really thinking about it for like threshold stuff, you know? And so it's kind of like really picking nits at this point, fine tuning it. But that's kind of like where I think about how do I understand these shoes? Where are they different? Now, that's me as like someone that can try all the shoes and has access to all the shoes. I think realistically for a lot of people, you probably will be getting either the Super Blast or the Magic Speed. Um, but I would say like get the Super Blast and then the Meta Speed, kind of two ends of the speed, not spectrum, but two kinds of speed, you know? And then it does leave the Magic Speed in a weird spot. But I feel like that's also the problem for a lot of brands that are making a Super Blast like shoe. Even look at Nike, right? They've got the Invincible, and then they've got like Vaporfly / Alphafly, right? Where does the Tempo Next come in? Do they even still make the Tempo Next? I don't think so. Where does the Zoomfly come in? Are they even making another Zoomfly? I don't know. Right? So it's like it's a hard thing. It's not that the shoe is bad. It's better than it's ever been. It's just that genre has a weird spot right now because of the other shoes that exist around it. Does that make sense? I don't know. Yeah, Brewer says, I did a tempo run in the Super Blast 2 and it hurt my hips and calves. It doesn't happen in my other shoes. It was disappointing. Yeah. Sorry to hear that. What do you normally run your tempo runs in? I wonder if it's very different than the Super Blast. Yeah. And 1HP says, I have a 6-pack of Endorphin Speed 2s. I probably won't need something in that genre for a while. Yeah. So you got a lot of miles to run in those. Martin McGrath says, I think someone like you should tell us what your rotation is. It's the best way for us to judge. The thing is, I don't have a rotation. Everyone thinks that I have this secret set of favorite shoes that I'm just not telling everybody. But I don't. The shoes that my rotation is what I'm testing. I don't have the luxury of, I'm one person. I don't have the luxury of like having a secret set of favorite shoes that I'm actually running in, you know? At the end of the year, I'll do rankings for like top 5 daily trainer, top 5 max cushion and all that. But, you know, what I'm running, you can see me on Strava every day. What I'm running in is what my rotation. And so the rotation happens to be like right now, the carbon plated shoes in the rotation. I guess you would say the current rotation based on the shoes I ran in the last 10 days would be daily trainer is, I don't know what the daily trainer is. The max cushion would be the 361 Elios. The 5K, 10K shoe would be the Super Comp Pacer 2. The carbon plated racer would be the Cloud Boom Strike. And I don't know if there's a daily trainer that I've been running in a lot lately. But that's going to change starting this week because then I'll switch to DV8 Nitro 3, DV8 Nitro Elite 3. What else do I have to test in here? I've got a lot of other shoes. So it's constantly in flux. And so, you know, and then I'll be going on a trip to San Francisco. I probably will bring the Nimbus and maybe the Noosa Tries with me, you know, so it always changes. And so that's why in all the review videos, I talk about, well, this is in this brand, this is what the max cushion shoe is, the daily trainer, the tempo shoe, and then the carbon plated racer. And then within each shoe, I talk about alternatives. So that's kind of how I look at it. Yeah. I don't have my own secret set. Dan Dalton says, Nitro is a good dog's name. Magic Speed is a good name for what I was doing in the early aughts. Nitro would be a good dog's name. Yeah. Jack D says the rotation is the wall behind him. Not all of the wall behind me. It's this wall is the rotation, kind of. Some stuff like sits there for long enough that I'm like, I'm actually not running in this one. I should move it. You know? Daniel Estrella says, I find it weird that I use carbon, the Endo Pro 3 for marathon paces, but nylon plated Endo Speed 3 for threshold paces. Granted, M paces are usually in longer duration. Yeah, I don't think that's necessarily weird though. I think that like the difference, like carbon and nylon are very different, but I think there's other things going on in those shoes. I don't like, for example, I don't think that the Endorphin Speed 3 and the Endorphin Pro 3 are the exact same shoe, just a different plate. There's other things that kind of go into that as well, you know. I think it's a good, not weird. I think it's a good example of plates themselves don't tell a full story. Martin says, I think I just like daily runners, whatever that says about me. All my running is about 10 miles every day at whatever speed I decide. I think that's great. Like people have been saying like, so like a variation of the question that you gave me, Martin, or like the thing you're saying about like, what's your rotation? It would tell a lot about my preferences, but I think my preferences are pretty obvious. I like things squishy. But like, like you don't have to have 4 shoes. You don't have to have 5 shoes to be able to enjoy running. Depends on what you want to get out of your running and what kind of running you like. I was talking with someone from a brand the other day and I was like, well, what is your running like? What do you like? And that person was like, I pretty much run the same distance at about the same pace every single day, about 6 days a week. And I was like, oh, okay. So I'm like, and you use all the different variety of shoes for it? Like, yeah, to test them out and to see which ones I like. But, I pretty much, that person was like, I'm pretty much at the point in my running where I just like running about an hour and 15 minutes a day. And however, some days I feel like running it faster. Some days I feel like running it slower. I might pick different shoes on those days, but pretty much the same kind of thing. And there's not a wrong way to do it. It's your running. It's what you're getting out of it. It's what you like. Unathletic Dad says, so do you use a different shoe for long runs versus daily miles? Anything more than 12 miles? Sometimes, and it depends on the daily running shoe. Some daily trainers are a little bit firmer. They're catering to a different set of preferences, and I wouldn't want to take them more than 12, 13 miles. Or like, I wouldn't want to take them for 2 hours or longer. In that case, I might get like a long run shoe, like a Super Blast would be really nice. SC Trainer, that kind of thing. An Invincible, those are nice for really longer periods of time. If it's just going to be long, low, and slow, then I might do like a Nimbus is really great. What was that shoe from Topo? The Atmos too. Things like that. It just depends on it. But then also for 12 miles, if it's a shoe that is the kind that I really enjoy, like a Nova Blast, Clifton 9, 1080 13, those I could take for 13, 15 miles, 17 miles, no problem. Depending on the run too. Oh, Kellen says, what about the 361 Elios? Seems like you really like them. I love that shoe. Video will be coming out tomorrow, but yeah, it's really good. It feels like that foam is like the original fuel. I don't know about original, but the old fuel cell. It's like the fuel cell that was in the fuel cell TC in like a max cushion package. And it's just, I think it's super critical TPU. That's what I believe fuel cell was originally. And I know that the 361 told me that it's a super critical foam. They didn't specify what the base substrate is. So it's a super critical process. I just don't know the gas or the substrate. But I think it feels like old fuel cell in a really good way. Mark says, you can expedite your testing process by wearing one of 2 different shoes at all times. I really don't like doing that. I don't feel like it tells you much of anything. I don't know. I just can't figure out what it my brain wouldn't be able to process it right. Adam says that the Hoka Clifton is named after Eric Clifton, one of the winningest ultra runners in the 1990s. Is that true? Is that where it came from? I think it's, what I think is weird? I think it's because like Hoka has like the Speed Goat as well, named after the Speed Goat, not the race, but the person, Carl Meltzer, right? I think it's weird that like, and it's not, basketball shoes are coming back. They're still doing it in a way, but like running shoes are like loath to name a shoe after a person, and I don't really get it. I like so like they I guess they've done it before. Clifton with the Clifton, Hoka with the Clifton, with, and what's that name? Eric Clifton, and with the Speed Goat. But I'm like, should we just start calling the Tecton the Walmsley? It's just that they don't want to pay them that much for it. They don't think there'll be that much benefit for calling it the Walmsley. Or is there some other reason for it? But like, you see it in basketball. Is it in soccer? I don't even know. I don't buy soccer shoes. I don't know if you see it in any other sports really, because I don't look at other sports that much. But I feel like it's really strange that we're not getting, like, Nike never is not gonna make a Kipchoge for real. Like, I just feel like that's weird. Like, I know, like, there's the whole Ineos thing, or the NN thing, but like, Jumpman can't collab with NN for a minute and do like a weird collab. I don't know. I'm not saying that I want that, but I think it's odd that it hasn't been explored. And it says, if I were another Hoka runner, I wouldn't want a Walmsley shoe. See, I can understand that, but who are they going to offend? Joe Gray? Is Joe Gray even running in a Tecton X? And you know what I'm saying? They got rid of all their women, or a lot of them, from the trail space. So that's not going to piss them off, I guess. There's no one left to piss off. But like, that's why I don't understand it. Or not even like a Walmsley edition. I mean, the Tecton X3 is basically a Walmsley edition of the Tecton X. So I just think it's unusual. And it says, what about Sage? I'll ask him. I'll ask him that. If the Tecton X came out as the Walmsley, would you not wear it? Or would you feel weird? Or maybe that's a question he can't really answer candidly. I feel like he would answer that candidly anyway. Yeah. And Mark says, it's a good thing that Nike didn't name a shoe after Salazar. But I feel like that's the problem. If the reason, and that's why something that I thought too, if the reason you think that you shouldn't name a running shoe after one of your marquee personalities is because you're worried that they're going to get caught up in a doping scandal or sexual abuse scandal or all the things that Salazar did, I feel like it's time to reevaluate the program and not the naming of the shoes. It's like, I don't know. It's just so wild to me. You know what I mean? And like, that's a weird reason, but I also feel like that's probably a pretty big part of the reason. Yeah. Johnny Dodgen says, is the fear of a positive drug test for potential athlete shoe? Is there? I don't know. I guess maybe you don't give that athlete a shoe then. I don't know. Or don't sign them at all. How about? Let's do that. Let's not sign them at all. And it says, I would buy a Hoka Sage. That's where I found out about Hoka. I would buy a Hoka Sage. Or if there was a Sage colorway, I feel like that would work. What is Sage's favorite Hoka? I feel like it's probably the Speed Goat. Don't you think? No? A double named after shoe? A Sage colorway edition of the Speed Goat? I don't know. Calvin says, only Kipchoge has even come close to the notoriety that a sprinter like Bolt has. And then there's another level up from TNF to the main sports. Yeah, I know. But Usain Bolt didn't even have Bolt shoes, did he? I don't think so. But like, Mo Farah did have a Mo Farah edition of the Pegasus for a while, right? It had the back cut off because he always cut the back of his shoes. So, I feel like it's not unprecedented either. It's just something that the industry doesn't do. Yeah. Matt says, would you buy a Nike Angles? I feel like if you had a Nike Angles, it would have to have like a mustache at the top, like a different color toe cap. Yeah. And Calvin says, like, imagine Under Armour doing nothing with Steph Curry. Yeah, imagine having Steph Curry and having him in Under Armour shoes, but not having a Steph Curry. Yeah. All right. Wait, JH Lee said there was a MoFair version of the Vaporfly 4% Fly Knits. There was? Huh, I don't remember that. Interesting. I mean, there was the Kipchoge edition of the Alphafly. I had that one. It was a light pink, right? So there was an EK edition. It said EK on the inside. So there's been editions, you know? There should be more of that, I feel like. Yeah. Bang Bang says, if it ain't about basketball, it ain't selling. Probably true. All right, that's a good place to leave it for today, guys. Remember, no live stream on Thursday, but if you're in the Bay Area, let's go for a run Thursday evening at Runner's Mind. We'll have a nice meetup there. There'll be some ASICS shoes to demo. I don't know if they'll have Super Blast for this one. They didn't have one for the last one, but it wasn't out yet. I don't know if I'll have any demos. They had Nusas, Metaspeeds, and Magic Speeds the last time, so it'll be interesting to see what they bring for this one. And then we'll go for a run, get some group photos, get some selfies, and we'll hang out. So hopefully I'll see you then. For everyone else, I'll see you next Monday back here, same time, 1 p.m. Central. Until then, be safe out there, everybody. Bye.